Welcome to Finance House. The story we're telling today begins quietly, not on Wall Street, not in Silicon Valley, but in the rolling fields of America's heartland, a place where the soil is black, the air smells of rain, and the wealth beneath your feet doesn't glitter like gold. It grows. In the last decade, billionaires have been buying something we all take for granted: farmland. Not skyscrapers, not crypto, not private islands, just acres of dirt, wheat, and water. And the question that echoes across the world is simple. Why? Why are some of the richest people on the planet pouring billions into something so ancient, so ordinary, so earthy? For most of modern history, farmland was seen as old money, slow, boring, and rural, the kind of investment your grandfather might care about, not a billionaire tech founder. But something changed, quietly, systematically, and today, that change has turned farmland into one of the most sought-after assets on Earth. Let's start with the name that grabbed everyone's attention: Bill Gates. By 2022, reports revealed that Gates, the founder of Microsoft, had become the single largest private owner of farmland in the United States. We're talking over 275,000 acres, spread across more than a dozen states. To put that in perspective, that's an area nearly the size of Hong Kong, land stretching from the Louisiana Delta to the potato fields of Washington State. When journalists asked him why, Gates gave a technical answer. He said it was about agricultural innovation, sustainability, and climate resilience. But behind that calm explanation, a deeper story was unfolding. Because Gates wasn't alone. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, bought massive ranch lands in Texas. Ted Turner, the media mogul who built CNN, owns more than 2 million acres, much of it used for bison ranching. And across the ocean, billionaires in China, the Middle East, and Europe were quietly doing the same, buying up fertile soil in Africa, Australia, and South America. It's a global land rush, and it's happening right under our noses. To understand why, we have to ask, what is farmland really? At first glance, it's just a place to grow food. But in the eyes of the wealthy, farmland is something far more powerful. It's a finite asset, meaning no matter how rich you are, you can't create more of it. Every year, the world loses arable land to urbanization, pollution, and desertification. At the same time, the global population keeps rising. More mouths to feed, less soil to grow on. Simple economics tells us that when supply goes down and demand goes up, value skyrockets. Farmland, it turns out, is the perfect inflation hedge. When prices for food, fuel, and materials rise, farmland owners benefit twice. They profit from higher food prices, and the land itself becomes more valuable. During the 1970s, when inflation ravaged the U.S. economy, farmland prices tripled. In 2008, during the global financial crisis, farmland didn't collapse like housing or stocks. It held steady. And in the 2020s, as inflation returns, the wealthy are turning back to what they trust most: real, tangible land. But farmland isn't just an investment, it's control. Whoever owns the farmland controls the food supply, and whoever controls the food supply controls the future. This idea isn't new. Empires have always understood the link between land and power. The Romans conquered for grain. The British colonized for sugar and tea, and in the 21st century, billionaires are doing it for corn, soy, and water. It might sound conspiratorial, but it's not. It's strategic. Because in a world where digital assets can vanish with a market crash and currencies can be inflated away, food remains eternal. People can live without the internet. They can't live without bread. There's also a deeper psychological motive, one that speaks to the mindset of billionaires. When you have more money than you can ever spend, you stop thinking about consumption and start thinking about preservation. You look for something that will outlast you, something stable, physical, and enduring. Tech founders spent decades building virtual empires of software, apps, and cloud services. But they know that digital wealth exists only as long as the system does. If the internet goes down, if markets freeze, if geopolitics shift, the zeros on a screen can disappear overnight. Land, though? Land is real. You can touch it, walk on it, and grow life from it. That's why farmland has become a kind of modern ark, a vessel for preserving wealth against whatever storms may come. To understand the scope of this shift, just look at the numbers. In the United States alone, foreign investors now own over 40 million acres of farmland, roughly the size of the entire state of Iowa. Chinese firms have bought land near U.S. military bases, raising security concerns in Congress. Canadian pension funds, Saudi conglomerates, and Wall Street investment firms like BlackRock have all entered the farmland market. In fact, farmland is now being financialized, turned into an asset class, just like stocks or bonds. There are even funds that let investors buy fractions of farmland through digital platforms. The very thing that once belonged to small family farmers is now being traded in boardrooms. It's the silent transformation of agriculture from a local livelihood into a global portfolio. But not everyone sees this as harmless investing. Critics argue that billionaire and corporate ownership of farmland could reshape our food system in dangerous ways. Because when profit, not people, dictates what is grown, food becomes less about nourishment and more about economics. If one person, or a handful of corporations, owns the majority of farmland, they can influence what crops are prioritized, how they're grown, and how they're priced. Imagine a future where decisions about what the world eats are made not by farmers, but by algorithms and CEOs. It's already happening in subtle ways. In parts of Africa and South America, foreign companies have bought millions of acres to grow crops for export, often displacing local communities. They grow corn for biofuel, not for food, soy for animal feed, not for families. Profit takes root, but people are uprooted. And yet, for the billionaires buying in, this is more than a business play. It's a bet on the future of civilization itself. They see what's coming. A century defined by climate volatility, population pressure, and resource scarcity. Water will dry up, arable soil will shrink, and nations will scramble to secure what's left. When that day comes, owning farmland won't just be profitable, it will be powerful. Because it's not just the crops that matter, it's the water rights, the mineral access, and the energy potential hidden beneath the surface. Many farmland purchases include aquifers, lakes, and rivers, the lifelines of agriculture. Some lands are strategically located near renewable energy corridors, giving owners influence over both food and power. What appears to be a quiet agricultural investment may actually be a geopolitical chess move. There is an old saying, when the rich start buying what the poor need to survive, it's time to pay attention. Farmland has always been the backbone of civilization, but in the 21st century, it's becoming the backbone of a new kind of empire, a corporate empire. And as billionaires acquire more, the traditional farmer is being pushed out. In the United States, the number of family-owned farms has been cut in half since the 1950s. Younger generations can't afford to buy land because prices have skyrocketed beyond their reach. What was once inherited through family lines is now auctioned off to the highest bidder. The soil remembers, but ownership forgets. Still, for the ultra-rich, farmland offers something else: narrative redemption. In a world where billionaires are criticized for their excess, farmland is wholesome. It's green. It's sustainable. It looks like they're saving the planet, not exploiting it. Bill Gates talks about sustainable agriculture. Jeff Bezos invests in vertical farming. These projects have real merit, but they also polish the image of wealth. They turn investment into virtue. So here we are, a world where the richest people on earth are buying the most ancient form of wealth known to humankind, a world where power has returned to the soil. And if the past tells us anything, it's that those who control the land control the future. Because when crises hit, when markets fall, and when money loses its meaning, what matters most is the ability to produce life. Food, water, energy, all of it begins with land. And the billionaires of today are preparing for the storms of tomorrow by owning the one thing that can to be printed, coded, or replicated: farmland. Thanks for watching Finance House. What do you think about this trend? Let us know in the comments below, and if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the world of finance. We'll see you in the next one.